Stratus sees that opening up before it actually even happens, so he recognizes, anticipates, and really that's when the Marlies are going to watch on video and say, that's not how we cover players in our own zone. You got to have a basketball mentality. It's got to be a bit of a zone defense there.
As Horvath's pass to clear it, kept alive by the Rebels. We're starting to force the Marlies into making a few mistakes here in this second. As Buckley, banned on the initial attempt, banks it off the boards. Maya fires it in. Tang will help out his defenseman Horvath. Sets a little pick along the way. Horvath feeling the pressure. Quickly now to Buckley. Makes a move at center ice. Hits Antropov. Little backhand return feed. Not a lot on that one. As gives Chow some time and space to send this one out. Now Bitten in a foot race with Spot. Spot gets there, clears it out. Antropov brings it in the other way. They're going end to end. Antropov making maybe one too many moves instead of taking that one to the net as the lanes opened up.
He's got a shot. Take advantage of it, especially on a night like tonight. How many opportunities like that will you have at the top of the circle?
Here's a turnover now by the Rebels as they pass that one right to the tape of a Marlies forward, and a second chance there for the Marlies. Shot can't get through. Rebels coming back now, wave after wave. We're going end to end here. These two teams, we expected a good one. They haven't disappointed early on. McShane and Stratus, we're tied up at 1. Just past the 12-minute mark here at the Scotiabank Pond as Ciampis brings it in. Ball's in there for support.
He's got support from Clark, so Ball knew exactly that he was being backed up by Clark. So you know what? He hung around a little bit longer, and it almost created another opportunity for the Marlies.
And now here comes Littlejohn on the backhand. Littlejohn sends it across. What a chance there. Canati just couldn't find the handle. Here's Canati now wheeling around. He's nimble. He's working around all three Marlies there, trying to protect the puck. Ooh, and there's a scary collision. No intent there from either side as Ball was going after Littlejohn. He missed the hit and just went face first into the boards. Now it's cleared by the Marlies. Both parties seem to be skating off okay. That's a good sign there. And here comes King. A little extra move, making sure everybody was ready. Sends it in. Damiani's quick to get to Spot. Clark sends it right back behind the net. Ball, this is a long shift for him. He looks like he needs to head off for a change here with the long change, of course, in the second period, and that's not going to help. It's turned over right in the neutral zone. Burles comes in to his forehand, and he scores. Burles finds a way to get it past Tang, and the Rebels have their first lead of the game, but that can go right back to not getting that puck deep right at the red line for the Marlies right there. The extra move cost them.
No, we roll it back so you can see the whole play develop. It doesn't get into the zone, and Burrows really puts the shoulder down and protects the puck. There's no way the Marlies player is going to get over and swat that off his stick, and that gets that second goal here. And really, I don't know how you want to handicap the rest of the game here, because it's the forechecks in full effect tonight, Phil, and both teams are committed to it. If you can find a forward that's not forechecking tonight, I'm going to say you're lying.
As there's Little, goes for the big hit. It's one of those little plays, though, for Little. He makes the move. His defensemen are tired, and the Rebels came right in and scored a goal. So now they have their first lead of this one. Back-to-back goals for them here in this second period. And although they've gone end-to-end, it's been a momentum changer. Marlies in the first. Rebels have responded nicely here in the second, and they have been very aggressive, as you noted, Pete, on their forecheck. Here's another turnover on what would have been a casual Marlies breakout, as this one finally does clear the zone. McShane has Tinmouth sneaking in behind everybody, but the hand-eye coordination of McIntyre gets in the way of that outlet. Here is Hill on the backhand, quickly to McShane. That was close to being picked off too. Bitten was quick to him. Bitten once again to Littlejohn, and the adjustment has been made by the Rebels. Shorter passes now through the neutral zone.
Well, they're moving with the puck in speed, and they're a little bit tighter. They're not trying to hit that home run pass that goes east-west across the ice. So a little bit of an adjustment by Coach Jeff Smoggy by the Rebels. We'll see if it continues.
And that's one too. That's iced. Antropov was going for a skate, and he had a seam right through center ice that could have potentially led to a breakaway. However, it's chipped off the glass and fired down for an icing, so an offensive zone draw here for the Rebels.
Oh, this is just a tough game, though. I mean, the players don't have much time to think about where they want to put the puck here because of how aggressive the players have been on the forecheck, and that's a testament to both coaches. They have some great offensive skill, but right now everyone is bought into the fact forecheck, back check, and we'll figure it out after.
3-on-2 rush building through the neutral zone. Horvath takes it wide. Low shot on net purposely. 2 big saves by Kajini. Smart little play, and here come the Rebels back the other way. Hughes with Peters, and the pass just was deflected at the blue line, forcing an offside. And to speak to those defensive abilities that we see on the ice between these two teams, Pete, these sides have allowed 2 goals or less. The Marlies 22 times, the Rebels 23 times in 28 games played for both sides.
And sometimes that's just a case of having a very overpowering offense, but tonight's an example of the defensive side taking control of the game as well.
Here comes Clark. He loses the handle on that one. Good stick there by the Rebels. This one's stolen in the neutral zone. Burrows tries to feed that one through. Young plays that one. It looked like it was high, but play on, they say.
Marlies are missing their wingers on both sides here. Still, Ciampis fights through to get the puck out of the zone.
Kujini thought about it, but he saw that King would be there in time. He leaves it there for Stratus. Nice communication between the two Rebels defensemen. And they'll work it around again and try an outlet on the far side. That one just skips over the stick of Canadi, and the Marlies try to get something going. It's been all Rebels in this second period as we hit the 8-minute mark. Damiani, good stick there by Fantuzzi. That's one of the moves he likes to do, sneaking it in under your stick. Tinmouth has King on him. Outsized, but he wins that, works it around. Fantuzzi's got some time. Protecting the puck now, sends it to Hill. Hill towards the net, it deflects and hits Kujini as the net comes off now as Kujini was working post to post, and a penalty though.
This was the stick I talked about. King started the game with a lot of enthusiasm. I get it, this guy's a great defender, but right now in the open ice in front of his own net, he once again goes to the stick as opposed to body positioning, and the Marlies will get their second power play here. And I said, you got to temper that enthusiasm. You want to do your job, you want to be effective, and that was the second part of it. The first one is what put the Marley player down on the ice, and the Marlies' first power play, not impressive, Bill. Let's see if the second one can get something going here.
Well, they won the draw cleanly, but again, too cleanly. Out of the reach of the defenseman, Kevin Ball. Now it's brought in by Thomas. 4 forwards out there right now for the Marlies. They got McShane and that mixed shot at the back end as this one comes out to Littlejohn, who comes in short-handed. He's stripped of the puck. Now coming back, here are the Marlies. Akil Thomas thinks better of it. Wants to set something up to McShane. Lots of room on the near side for Ball. Back to McShane. His wrister hits a couple bodies, but does not find a way through. They'll try again. Quick pass now to Ball. Marlies on their power play seem to be forcing things a little bit. It's led to some careless passes. There's Akil Thomas trying to dangle through 2 players. And Tang will leave that there for Ball.
This is someone's got a spot that the Rebels have decided to go 4 wide on their own blue line when they're short-handed, and you've got to dump it in and turn it into a foot race.
Fantuzzi and Ball, 50 seconds left. Another power play that hasn't been able to really do anything. As Akil Thomas will send this one in. Antropov's out there now. Send Stratus into the boards. That's how you do it, like Pete said. Send it in deep, win the battle. That's what the Marlies did. Spot fans on the pass, however. Stratus quickly, him and Antropov just battling. Great play there by Antropov to poke that one to Akil Thomas, who centers it, and the shot went wide. Quick passing now here, Pringle. Jack Hughes was all over him. Here's Hughes trying to get it out desperately. He finally does, and this is lifted high and into the netting out of play. We will stop things. 5:55 remain in the period. 15 seconds in this Marlies power play.
It's been 2 very fast periods. That's the one thing we have to remember. Now, for the Rebels, they've given up the 2 power plays to the Marlies, and they're 15 seconds away from dodging what I think another opportunity to give a very powerful team a man advantage. So quick periods here, in the third that we'll get a little bit of a break. But both teams have decided we're going to play this at a very quick pace tonight.
Here is Clark with the steal. We're now 5-on-5 once again. Players racing to get back into the play. Antropov's backhander goes wide. Here is Peters. To Damiani. Damiani gets past Horvath, puts on the brakes. He saw an opening there from McIntyre, but too many Marlies sticks in the way of that one. Rebels get onside, and they fire it right back in. 2 unanswered here in the second period. Rebels have their first lead of the game. Well, passing lanes are opened up, and the Rebels are using that to their advantage in the offensive zone, as it is iced.
And Clark needed a line change right there. He and Horvath had an opportunity, and Clark said, you know what, we're tired out here. But he needed just that extra couple strides to get to the red line. And for now, the Rebels have really picked up their game here. I mean, you take away the 4 minutes the Marlies have had on the power play. 5-on-5, I think the Rebels have a slight advantage here. I know it's 2-1 on the scoreboard, but they've picked up a little bit of that speed that helps them so much.
Ciampis absorbs a hit there from Bitten. Here's Hughes. He's wheeling near that blue line. Head up. He's got that speed, and he gets a power play out of his hard work and that skill set. The Marlies just standing around using your stick instead of your skates. Sometimes that'll lead to a penalty.
I'm getting all choked up here. I'm coughing on air here. The emotion of this game is taking me on a roller coaster ride.
Nice.
And the one thing we kind of compared Hughes to, besides trying to compare him to his brother, which isn't fair, because they're their own players, but
Forward and a defenseman,
he's so efficient, so smooth, not herky-jerky, but the speed aspect this year looks like he's gotten even faster.
So first power play for the Rebels. Let's see what they can do. Quick passing, King from the back end. It hit Little John in the back as he was battling in front. He parks himself in front of the net again. Stratus trying to find an opening on the shot. Burles sends it across for Damiani. A lot of passing, but nothing towards the net just yet for the Rebels. Burles slows it down. Waits for everyone to get in position. That's where Damiani loves to post up. Right-handed shot on the left wing on that power play. He can snipe. As Little John gets taken down from his belly, he keeps it going though. Stratus right on target. Tang absorbs that one. No rebound. That's the biggest part of that save right there, as Little John was right on the doorstep waiting for something.
And Stratus, he was trying to change the point of attack, waiting for a little bit of a screen to get there. We get you these great footage from behind the net there. And Stratus would just hold on, I'll get a little body in front of there, and it ends up being a big body in Little John to screen the goalie.
And the Marlies win the draw, and will clear this one down the ice. About 1 minute remains now in the Rebels power play. Nearing the end of this second period. As Peters absorbs a hit there from Horvath. Here's Hughes. Aguano did whatever he could to hold the line. It just squeaked out, so that'll be an offside call.
And there's Tinmouth. We talked about his great offensive game. Here's on the PK, and Aguano realizes, I'm losing this battle, and he gets bailed out by the fact that it goes onto the bench area, and there's a whistle. And this is where the scouts are always talking about players being praised for their skills, helping their offensive game, and they just light up when they talk about the defensive game. I mean, does everyone in the NHL play D now? I mean, 3-2, 2-1, you need everyone involved on the defensive side. 10, 20 years ago, you had guys that didn't even bother trying to play defense.
Yeah, and you can see from both of these teams, so well coached. All 5 guys, it's not just the goalie and defenseman, all the forwards are back there supporting them and helping them out. As King finds Hughes, goes through the legs, worked out nicely there for the Rebels. Stratus' shot off the side of the post, outside part, stays out. 3 to go in the period. Damiani tried to get a quick shot off, good stick. Antropov knew he's going to stay within a stick's length of Damiani, because as soon as he touches that puck, he wants to get his stick right in there, as we'll go 5-on-5 once again. Good kill here for the Marlies. Damiani chips this one past Mackey, then gets a stick up high. He goes down. Looked like perhaps it was a stick. We'll have to get another look at that one. He's slow to get back to the bench, though. Play continues, and just as I say that, we've got an offside.
Well, you and I are terrible at guessing. We'll get a chance on the replay. Was it just above the knee? I mean, it looked like he went down right away, maybe in a tender spot. We'll see right now. He's in great position. I don't know if he just
across the
twisted.
forearm, maybe?
You think it could be a wrist injury, or did he just twist himself awkwardly? You and I are not very good doctors.
No,
I know that for sure. So we'll see if Riley's healthy and back there. He's on the bench talking to the trainer, doing some stretching.
We'll keep an eye on him. No worry right now for the Rebels, though. They're up by 1 nearing the end of the period, so might not need to force him back out on the ice here. Wait it out as there's a turnover at the line. McIntyre, it's loose. Oh, what a save by Tang. That was ridiculous. I was ready to call goal number 3 there for the Rebels, and Tang reaches back. Desperation save. Outstanding stuff.
We talk about his positional ability, always in the right spot, the big old square. Well,
Wow.
this shows you off the athletic side here.
Wow.
The big paddle, and he fights his way through it, takes a swipe, misses it, and gets another opportunity to keep this at a 1-goal difference.
Let's remember that one. Right now in a 1-goal game, it's a huge save. Last thing the Marlies would have needed there is to go down by 2 to head into the 3rd period. As we know, just to refresh you, they have the same amount of games played, these two teams. The Rebels are 4 points back of the Marlies for first. The Marlies get the victory, as we discussed, with not much time left in the season. That might cement a Kraft Cup title for them, but the Rebels would like to step in and make things interesting here. And if they get the W, they'll be just down by 2 points. It'll be interesting the rest of the way. Marlies will take on the Kings in their next game. It'll be the reps for the Rebels. But we've still got 1 minute and 15 in this one, plus a whole other period. What's been an excellent hockey game so far, as Fantuzzi's pass, those Marley passes just haven't been connecting as they did in that first period. The outlets haven't been tape to tape. It's been a reversal as Benton comes in 1-on-4. 14's forced wide by Spot, who plays him nicely there. Taking the man, ignoring the puck. As Pringle ties up his man as well. Fantuzzi steps in to take it. Leads the rush going the other way. Tries to flip it past the Rebels, who have clogged up the neutral zone on the Marlies in this period. As it was Peters and Aguano teaming up, as we've got 40 seconds left now. 2-1 lead here for the Rebels. Right back onto the stick of Burrows, who goes right back down. Aguano with an opening. That shot's blocked by Horvath. And the Marlies right now looking like they're just trying to hang on and get through this second period. Rebels are all over them. Another chance to clear it, and it's forced in. And now Fantuzzi says, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm going to ice it. But what a tale of 2 different periods here of these two teams looking completely different from what they did in the first.
Well, Horvath there, he's trying extra hard. He knows he's got 20 seconds, one last rush, but the Rebels are so good in the placement of their sticks. You have 3 players, they haven't exited the zone. They're all finding a way to put their stick in a lane, and that forced the Marlies to end up icing the puck here.
And now it's ball around the boards. Final seconds now of this second period. Shot gets blocked in what could have been a breakaway if there was another 10 seconds left on this period. Will result in the buzzer, and the Rebels will skate off to the break with a 2-1 lead. 2 goals in the second. Stratus and Burles, that's the difference, and that's why they're up by 1 goal. We're going to take a quick break here on Rogers TV as the guys skate off. We'll head off ourselves, and we'll summarize what went down in those first 2 in a few.
Is when everyone's committed to it. So strong coaching personalities, they'll get players to commit to it. We know in the pros winning a championship works, but at this level everyone is in on the forecheck, and it's really made it difficult for defensemen and wingers to go for skate and say, I'm looking right, I'm looking left. It doesn't help you because there's someone in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's check out now our second period highlights, and you'll see everything that went down in that last 15, and the Rebels would finally get to the Marlies. Some nifty passing down low. You see all 5 Marlies committed to watching that puck. Stratus sneaks in. Stratus makes no mistake.
He's a big boy, so sneaking in takes a little work, but he saw it open up before he even got there. It was zone coverage by the Marlies, a weak zone play, and the Rebels are able to get that goal on the board.
And things continue to remain physical. A mischeck there, no injuries to speak of. And here come the Rebels one more time. That's Burles sneaking in on a neutral zone turnover, and Burles puts it home.
Well, it was two-parter. You talked about the turnover, but I love the speed aspect as he gets around the corner. Now, the Marlies have had a couple good rushes, but really when you talked about the second period, Bill, most of it is going to be about the Rebels with 30 or 40 seconds of action, and the Marlies just having a couple shots and not really be able to keep that sustained offensive pressure.
And that's the speed of Hughes right there on display, drawing a penalty. His team went to the power play. Neither team's capitalized with the man advantage. 2 for the Marlies, 1 for the Rebels, and this, we'll see how this game ends up. This could be one of those game-saving moments.
Well, you asked the guys in the truck to clip it and remember it, because at 2-1, that's a fantastic work by Tang, who, like we said, he's not going to make our plays of the year because he's always in great position. He doesn't have to reach. That's the one time traffic in front of him, and he uses the paddle of the stick to make the second and the third save.
So I called this a heavyweight bout when we first came on air, Pete. So we could say maybe round 1 goes to the Marlies. They get the 1 goal. Round 2 to the Rebels. What do you need to see from the Marlies game to step it up here? Because we know how important these points are coming up in this third period.
Well, the Rebels, I don't think, are going to sit back here with a 2-1 lead. So it's going to be a little bit of the same. Now, if it's 2-1 under 5 minutes, then the Marlies are going to start to take a few more chances, and the Rebels will have to be prepared to defend. But I don't think Jeff Smogey and his coaching staff are going to say, let's ease up here and try and protect the 1-goal lead for 15 minutes, because that's very difficult to do against the Toronto Marlies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure both teams will keep their foot on the pedal here for the third period. It'll be a big one coming up. 2-1, the Rebels like to hold on here, and if they can, they'd be 2 points back of the Toronto Marlies for first in the division. We'll be back here on Rogers TV.
I took this picture of my wife when she was near death, waiting for a liver transplant. And this is her now.
Hello, I'm Lise Breckenridge. A liver transplant saved my life.
What can I say? You be the judge.
Your donation will help Canadians understand the importance of pledging to be an organ donor.
And it will help save the lives of so many more.
As it has for us.
Watch the 2016 Scotties Tournament of Hearts on Local Sports Plus, channel 368 and 369.
Will you get off the ice?
Do you want to purchase property but aren't sure how? Do mortgages and financing confuse you? Tune into Toronto Speaks Personal Finance Monday at 9 p.m.
Welcome back to the Scotiabank Pond. 15 up on the clock. 2-1 lead for the Rebels over the Marlies. It's a big third period when we're ultimately determining who might skate away as the #1 team in the minor midget AAAs.
Well, Damiani's out there. We wanted a little bit of an update. He didn't look like he was dealing with any kind of injury here. So everyone's healthy. We talked about the one player from the Marlies. Pierre-Luc Forget is out. He's the only Marley missing. And, of course, the Rebels fully dressed. And it's one of those things. You and I do so many age groups in the GTHL, and we always talk to the coaches about injuries. So many quirky hockey injuries, quirky
Yeah.
school injuries.
These school injuries always
I mean,
catch us off guard sometimes.
On my neighborhood, it was tripping over the sprinkler. That was as quirky as it got. Now, it wasn't me. I had a little bit more of a vertical than my neighbors. But, I mean, trying to stay healthy and just being a kid, I mean, playing tag. We heard playing tag someone was injured. So, healthy rosters for the most part here.
At this time of the year, that's a luxury to have, as we've seen from some of the other teams that are dealing with a lot of banged up bodies. As we are underway now, third period. Maya sends this one in. Peters will get there. Excuse me, that's Hughes. To Bond. Blocked by Clark. And here comes Hughes. Always just finds a lane. Even if he turns into 4 players, finds a way to get through them all. As this is chipped past the Rebels, and now the Marlies, it's kept in the zone. Out of the reach of Clark. Horvath steps up. Littlejohn now with the steal. And his teammates looking for a change. Hughes says, all right, I guess I'll try one more rush, but he goes offside, stumbles a little bit there at the blue line. And we'll stop things just under a minute into the third.
The one thing you notice at this time of year, Bill, is winter has arrived. And when the flood is done, I mean, this ice is fast. And both of these teams have a lot of speed. I mean, early in the year it can be a little slow, it can be a little wet. This puck is moving.
And now Burrows with a chance. Speaking of the puck moving, a big lively bank off the boards, and Burrows used that speed. And that speed's been a game changer for the Rebels. They figured out a way to get past that Marlies defense. Is now another turnover right at the line. They're coming right back in. There's Burrows. He's having himself quite a game tonight for the Mississauga Rebels. That time, however, his stick explodes along the boards, and he goes in to try to play the body a little bit, make things difficult for ball on the clearance. Littlejohn still has it. Works it to the point. Chow's got nothing else to do. It comes out of the zone. He sends it right back in. Delayed offside. Littlejohn will head off. Here's McShane. Gets past one guy. Rister off the leg of a Rebels player and goes wide. Antropov's bullied off that by the much smaller Kanadi, who now gets taken down by Buckley. And now a 3-on-2 brewing for the Marlies as Buckley heads off for a change. The numbers even up along the way. Little shot gets gloved down, and the Rebels now quickly off that rebound try to get a counterattack going. With speed through the neutral zone, they're forced to stop up as King dumps this one in. There's Matthew Hill around the boards on the near side. Gets it right back from Fantuzzi. And it doesn't hurt being an AFP call-up, playing with such a smart defenseman as Fantuzzi, as the other guy with you.
Well, it's getting used to the speed. I mean, the players are a year older, but filling in against a top opponent, and you don't have any chance to get settled in.
Now here's Bitten off the boards. Marley stepping up now, as we saw maybe a little bit more in that first period. There's Akil Thomas helping out the defenseman. And this one's turnover at the blue line. That neutral zone game continues now as Bond sends it in. Throws it there for Bitten. Around the boards for Hughes. McIntyre, tons of space near the blue line. His shot gets blocked and into the far corner. There's Hughes. He's on just about every loose puck before anybody can blink an eye. He loses it that time as Fantuzzi pins his man along the boards. Pringle gets upended by Hughes. Centering pass, nobody there. McIntyre with some room, shot. Marlies everywhere, just a sea of blue. Almost impossible to get one through, but it's kept alive again at the blue line. Hughes centers it, Bitten with a chance, and it's in the back of the net. It finds a way to slide past the blocker of Tang, who didn't get that paddle down quick enough. And the Rebels have a 2-goal lead. That's just a hard-working shift once again for the guys in white.
They've never exited the Marley zone. And I'm just thinking, did Tang try to pick this up with his blocker? I mean, it gets pushed aside there. It looks like he knocked it in. Knowing that he had Rebels around him, he felt the pressure. But it's the earlier 30-second sequence around this goal that is going to be the story. As Sam Bitten looks like he's going to get credit there. And the Marlies just kind of under siege here from what was a good first period. And the Rebels have really had that slight advantage in the second, and they're continuing to pile on here in the third with a 3-1 lead.
Here's a centering pass now for Damiani. His shot doesn't find a way through. Hughes picking up another point on that play as well, throwing that one in front for Bitton, and a good eye there, Pete. It was definitely knocked in unintentionally by Tang, but the Marlies had about 3 or 4 chances during that sequence to do anything to get it out of the zone, off the glass, find a breakout option.
They're not playing with confidence, and that's because the Rebels have been so good on the forecheck, so good at skating. I mean, they're not stopping and looking at the Marlies. They are continually in motion.
Another face-off one. Damiani, as we mentioned, he likes to set up there on the off wing. On the draw or on the power play, his shot that time went wide as that puck somewhere in the equipment of Burles. He scoops it out. Hey, when you're having a good game, the puck just finds a way to get magnetized to you.
Well, it's in the back end of his pants, so it'll come outside, and at 3-1, 11 minutes to go. It's not panic time, Bill, but this Marlies team's going to have to open it up here, take some chances. Will it be longer passes? Will it be the defenseman through deciding to join in the rush?
As Antropov sifted one through for Buckley. There's ball now holding the line, sending it in deep. Antropov again. Chow was on him, back to ball. That one deflects high. Takes a big kick off the glass and almost a chance for Buckley to tuck it in. But Cugini got around quickly. Here's Fletcher. There's a lot of room there on the far side. Brings it in just onside, right on target. Loose puck, and they score. The Rebels on a play that didn't look like much, but they find a way to get a goal. It's Andrew Peters with goal number 4. And that's one after Tang knocked in the last one accidentally into his net. Just a dribbler comes towards him, and he kicks out more of a rebound than I think he would have liked to.
Now that's all the Rebels getting on the puck here. You can see the rebound isn't something he's going to be happy about, but they're in hot pursuit. All 3 forwards are heading to the front of the net. They outmatch the 2 defensemen. The goaltender has no chance, and that is the speed of Peter showing up on the doorstep and making it 4-1.
Well, Peter, the last time these guys played when it wasn't a GTHL regular season matchup, we're talking the Marlies Holiday Classic. It was a 4-1 win for the Rebels. You look up right now, 4-1 lead for the Rebels.
And the Rebels haven't slowed down one bit here as we get to 10 minutes to go. And there's a danger. You see it in the modern game. A 2-1 lead, 3rd period. You start playing the prevent defense. And just smoking the Rebels said, forget about that.
Here comes Bitton in all alone, takes it wide, scores! The Rebels' offensive explosion here in the 3rd period continues. Now a 4-goal lead. My goodness, 3 goals just like that, and they're up 5-1.
Oh, wide open. Bitton waits out the defenders. They're not able to pursue him. The goaltender does all he can. He's hanging on in position. And the Marlies are going to make a goaltending change and go with the timeout. Thought they might do one or the other. They've decided to use both here as Patrick O'Leary will come in, and Steve Devine and Bruce Robertson. I don't know if this is much of a clipboard talk, Bill. I think this is more about let's get it together here. It's a long season. They know how well they play against the Rebels here in this game and the last one. I mean, the speed of the Rebels has been too much for the Marlies to deal with.
Well, in this regular season series now, 5-2, the Marlies took the first one. The next one they tied. And now up 5-1 here in this 3rd period. Make it 7 goals in 3 games for the Marlies, 8 for the Rebels. They match up so close statistically, but a couple of these games have been pretty one-sided, and since that 2nd period, the Rebels have taken over here in this one.
I think you have to activate your defensemen here, and if a rush is working out well, take a chance.
As Littlejohn hung on to that one a little too long. Marlies can't capitalize on that. Damiani, Littlejohn's heading to the net. Patrick O'Leary now between the pipes for the Marlies, as that'll be it for Elliot Tang. Quick passing. Now it's on the stick of Clark. Gets that one through. Cugini finds it, and he will hang on. Let's take a look now at the flurry of the 3 goals. First one there, Bitten, goes off the blocker of Tang. Like you said, just hard work, Pete. They throw it towards the net. Everybody pursuing that puck.
Oh, it's the fear of the players are coming over, and you decide, I've got to do something quickly, and you end up not handling the puck well. And the Rebels have built up a 5-1 lead. Not much I think you could fault the goaltender with in terms of Tang. He and O'Leary have actually split the season here pretty well, playing the same amount of games, so he'll get some work here. But I'm looking at what the Rebels forwards did to the Toronto Marlies defense core, the speed versus what the Marlies are usually good at, and tonight the Rebels have been very good.
Well, the Marlies came into this one against the Rebels, Red Wings, and Junior Canadians, the 3 teams below them, with a 5-2-1 record. For the Rebels, swapped them with the Marlies, and they were 4-2-2 against the top dogs. So they have played well against the opposing teams, as the opposing top teams, as the Marlies now will be headed to the box. Some frustration perhaps brewing for the guys in the blue jerseys.
Well, looked like a pretty good hit by Antropov, and we'll see if he finishes high or if the initial part of the hit was high. Certainly he went out to deliver a good body check along the boards there. And Troy Whetstone, he's had a few calls. There's 4 here between 2 teams that are very good, and it looked to me like it was more or less the finish, Bill. And
yep.
We've seen so many good hits turn into penalties because the players finish a little high. It's the chicken wing. They want to inflict a little bit more punishment. And really, you had a great body check going for half of it, and then you ruined it with the second half of the hit.
So now a power play for the Rebels as Hughes works it in down low. Akil Thomas, he's been quiet tonight. Puts pressure on him. I've said it before, in these one-sided games, last thing you need to do is take a penalty. It's just going to eat 2 minutes up off the clock. Whether or not the Rebels bury one here, they don't mind. With that 4-goal lead now as we approach the 8-minute mark. And we thank you for tuning in, as always, watching the GTHL here on Rogers TV, as O'Leary, tested for the first time, makes a nice glove save.
Well, not an easy task to come in figuring you had the night off. I mean, your partner's such a good goalie, and you're playing a very good team. I think it was the right idea by the coaching staff just to get Tang out there and say, you know what, let's get O'Leary in. He'll take on some shots as well.
Draws one by the Rebels. Bitten working into the high slot, gets a shot through. Nice pad save there by O'Leary. As Clark tries to clear this one out. Finally, Fantuzzi will get it across. Looks for a return feed, trying to generate a bit of offense, despite the fact that they're shorthanded. Shot goes off the side of the net. Take a few extra chances here. Down by 4 as there's 40 seconds left in the power play. Clark takes his man down, and that's going to be another penalty to the Marlies. Things just going from bad to worse here.
Well, Clark was in pursuit, and it looked like the Rebels player stops on a dime, and Clark's got to be in control of his stick and his body. That could be a second one there on Horvath.
Oh, what a save by O'Leary to get across post to post. He's not giving up on this one. We'll have to wait and see what the call is. The Rebels working around. Damiani gets a shot on target, and O'Leary saves it. As both teams skate away. Looks as though it's just going to be the cross check to Clark. That one right there was close, and an even better save.
Well, this is where the referee and his crew, Troy Whetstone, David Milne, and Jerry McCone, they're going to have to get a little bit tighter, right? 7 minutes to go between, you called it a heavyweight battle, and I don't know many heavyweights that like losing. So
correct. They're
going to have to tighten up, keep the players honest, and if you call this one a little bit tighter than you did in the first and second, hey, that's called good refereeing. So not saying the Marlies or Rebels are getting out of control, but that's going to make it real easy as Damiani dings it off the post. It'll be a running clock.
And he dings it off the post, Pete, with a second left in the 5-on-3, so they will still have a 5-on-4. When Damiani has that kind of space, that's going to go in 9 times out of 10 with that shot.
This kind of sums up the night. The Rebels have been energetic, used that speed and that desire to create a lot more opportunities for themselves, and that shows you how quickly they can strike off the draw. They haven't eased up one bit.
Nope.
I mean, you look at that face-off setup on a power play. I know it's 5-on-3, 2 men are unmarked, but they're treating it as if it was 2-2 with 10 seconds to go in the game.
We know there's a lot of pride on this Marlies team, Pete. We rarely see them on the receiving end of one of these types of scores.
Well, coaching staff might be able to use this as a little bit of fire, right?
Yep.
You want to get the players to remind themselves the season's a long haul, and Stephen Devine and the coaching staff of Bruce Robertson and Ken Strong, they might be able to use this a little bit mojo. As these ones are on the power play here, the Marlies are just not into it.
Canati that time.
And it won't matter if it's 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, and now 7-1. It will be a loss for the Marlies, and the top three is a lot tighter between the Marlies, who will be in first, the Rebels, and the Red Wings.
There'll be 48 points for the Marlies, 46 for the Rebels, 44 for the Red Wings.
Well, the next time we see these guys, it'll be playoffs.
Yep.
So it'll all be sorted out by then, but I will not be making any predictions.
No.
And
Neither
if you
will I.
want to look foolish, go ahead. But certainly there's some big games to end the regular season.
Don't forget about the Junior Canadiens. They're in the conversation too.
They're there. I might go out on a limb and say their
Might be tough.
season start kind of hurt them.
Yes, I would agree.
And now they're looking at maybe finishing in that 4th spot. But really, if you were worried your first round opponents would be too easy, well, this is okay, because you're going to be playing playoff type hockey till the end of the regular season. So for the Rebels and the Marlies, these games to end the regular season might be more intense than the first round of the playoffs, depending on who their opponents end up being.
No kidding. And we've got a run clock here, under 5 minutes to go. McShane opened up the scoring for the Marlies, who had a great first period, but 7 unanswered from the Rebels. Stratus, Burles, Bitten with 2, Peters, Damiani, and Canati. Both of these teams, we know the depth that they have on offense. They can roll all their lines. We're seeing it from the Rebels a little bit better tonight. Everybody's been chipping in offensively.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was Rebels' speed and skill just beating up on the Marlies, especially when you saw the second period take shape. The Rebels really got themselves engaged.
They made a few adjustments on a way to beat that neutral zone trap that the Marlies had set up in the first, and they have not slowed down. It was 2-1 to start this third period. Now it's 7-1. What a job by the Rebels. Canati with a shot stop by O'Leary. For the Marlies, that'll end their undefeated streak, as that's offside, where they had gone 11-0-2 in their last 13 games. That'll be their 4th loss of the season. But as we know, they'll still be 2 points ahead of the Rebels. And the Rebels streak, Pete, they're about to go 15-0-4 in their last 19 regular season games.
And if you want to nitpick, it's those 6 ties that the Rebels have that look like it's the difference right now between first and second. And we know this is a very interesting season. I mean, the OHL Cup, we're going to have the break during the playoffs for players to represent Canada at the Youth Olympiad. So there's a lot of factors still to take shape, and a lot of pressures on these players here. They want to finish the regular season hard, but, you know, they also know that they're being scouted, still being scouted to represent Canada.
Here comes Damiani. Boy, do the Rebels look like a well-oiled machine, though, here tonight. Everybody's on the same page.
I don't think you can use this third period to evaluate the Marlies in any way. The Rebels have taken control of the game. The Marlies are looking to stay out of trouble, don't get injured, and start preparing for the next game.
And that next game will be against the Vaughan Kings, and the Rebels will battle the Mississauga Reps coming up next for either side. And the Rebels streak will continue. Mentioned their last regulation loss, October 29th. We are in January of 2016, folks. That's a pretty impressive run. As Iguano's pass doesn't hit anybody, McShane brings it in. Takes it wide. The goal scorer for the Marlies. His pass across for ball right on the tape. That deflects and goes wide into the far corner. Here's Pringle. 2 minutes left in the third period. Penalty is coming up to the Rebels as soon as they touch it, which they do. So it'll be power play 3 for the Marlies, as this one is close to the finish.
Well, this is certainly shaping up as a great race to the Kraft Cup. Last year's minor midget AAA needed a one-game playoff.
Yes.
So
Titans and Flyers.
Titans and Flyers, and we know it was Titans kind of not making it through on the playoffs, and even in the OHL Cup, it was Flyers Marlies was the storyline. So winning first place overall, which the Titans did last year in a 6-5 shootout at the Hershey Center, that never got them into that top seed, that championship, the OHL Cup. So it's a nice award you pick up on the way, but you're looking at becoming a playoff champion.
And from talking to a few coaches along the way, Pete, do you remember the guy who won first in the season or the champion at the end of the year?
It's interesting because this Rebels Bandit team won it all last year, and that's rare that you have everyone chasing. Now, they finished in a first-place tie in the regular season and took on the Red Wings in the one-game playoff. So it's a crazy rule. It's an awesome rule because you're not going to win a league championship, regular season championship, or the last playoff spot on a tiebreaker. You got to play a one-gamer, and that's the fun spot.
I do like that.
It's a scheduling nightmare, though.
Yeah,
you do know that, right?
Yeah, you can imagine it
I
doesn't
would
make
love
life
to start
easy
the
in the
playoffs
office.
in every series all on the same night, but you can't do that in case there's a tiebreaker.
There's a shot by ball. That one's cleared down the ice. That'll probably be enough. Maybe one last chance for the Marlies. 15 seconds to go. Rebels will improve to 23-6. 20 wins, 3 losses, 6 ties, that is. And the Marlies will be 23-4-2. And the Rebels will be 2 points back as there's one last chance for the Marlies. But the Rebels, just everything was clicking in the last 30 minutes of this hockey game. They've impressed us.
And you certainly are showing people that this 3-4 team race, I mean, it's going to be fun right till the end of the regular season on January 23rd.
Well, as the Rebels celebrate, the Marlies will reflect on this one and get ready for their next game. We will take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back to wrap everything up as the number 2 Rebels take down the number 1, the top dogs in the Marlies, by a big 7-1 finish. We'll be back here on Rogers TV.
Possibility. It's not the province of luck.